With Season 2 of Heartstopper recently returning, it delivered a story that progressed on from the first season in a natural way, which ultimately allowed all of the characters' struggles, passions, and journeys to move forward. With Season 2 coming out to a strong reception and it jumping straight to number 1 on the Netflix charts, I thought I'd take a look at all that was out there along with giving my theories and predictions on what I think could happen next. So let's get into it. Here is Heartstopper Season 3, Everything We Know. Just to let you know, this video will contain spoilers. Oh, and if you enjoy this video, then feel free to hit subscribe. Thanks. The release date. The release date is something that every single fan of the show wants to know, including myself. The good thing to know is that there is some good news that's currently out there, and it's in a position that not many shows have the privilege of being in. And this position is that it's actually been confirmed that another season is 100% on the cards. Heartstopper has already been confirmed to be getting another season, which is great news. That just means anticipation for when the next season will be aired is the next big question. Between Season 1 and Season 2 there was around a year to wait, so it's the usual time frame that we're used to having when it comes to being in between seasons. This time round though, between Season 2 and Season 3, I feel we may have to wait a little while longer. With all of the strikes that are going on at the moment between the writers, actors and studios, it's essentially grinded most productions to a halt, and Heartstopper could be something that does get delayed due to that. Even though it is predominantly happening in the States, the actors could be a part of sister unions that may also go in strike in solidarity alongside them, but it's not 100% known right now. Until a resolution is found between the guilds and the studios, it will most probably have some kind of delay. So if that is the case, then we may not know when it will be released, as it's all dependent on a resolution. If it ordinarily takes around a year for the writing, production, post-production and marketing of a release of the season, then I feel it could end up adding on a few extra months to a year on top of that, but it may not be impacted at all. So I'm going to go for around an autumn 2024 release date, especially if they're trying to tie it to the beginning of an academic year, so we may have a little while to wait. The story. In terms of the story for Season 3, there are several different directions that it's going to be going in. Netflix have confirmed that the creator of the show has said that love is going to be one of the main topics, and it was actually the only word that was used when they described what it would be about. With Season 2 finishing off with Nick seeming as though he was going to be telling Charlie that he loved him. That was before he was interrupted, but also with Charlie writing out a message to Nick where he said, "I love you," but us not seeing if he sent it. I think it's clear to see why love is going to be at the heart of the show, as it's the natural step in the right direction for both Nick and Charlie. However, with love comes heartbreak, so maybe their relationship will be tested at some point in the next season, as we've not really seen it be tested in terms of when it comes to just being the both of them. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. Plus, we also saw Darcy and Tara tell each other that they loved one another, so love feels like a very fitting topic for the next season. I also think with Nick being worried about Charlie, and Charlie maybe not even realize what he's doing in terms of hurting himself, such as when he was pinching his arm, it seems as though his eating disorder and the lack of control that he feels as though he has in his life is something that's going to be prominent. As I imagine Nick will look to address it in a sensitive way that shows that he's there for Charlie if he needs him or wants him to be. With this being such a serious topic, it could prove to be something that will be quite dark and emotional to watch. So there will most likely be an edge to the season like we've not really seen before, allowing the show to bring a disorder to the forefront and maybe even help people in the process. Outside of Nick and Charlie, I think a main part of the story that we'll see developing will all be about Darcy and the toxic home life that she has. We saw a brief glimpse of what goes on behind closed doors when she's at home with her mother, and her mother is somebody who doesn't seem to be accepting of the type of person that Darcy expresses. With Darcy mentioning how she didn't feel as though she'd ever be able to come out to her mother, I think we may see her work towards doing it in the next season. Her home life isn't something that's sustainable long term. She runs away, spends time in the park and won't sleep at night when she does. So I feel she may feel as though she's keeping it pent up inside of her, and feeling as though she's leading two different lives, which she did mention that she felt like she was doing. So I think it may ultimately cause her to feel as though it could be time to come out to her mother. One major thing that was hinted at right at the end of the season was that Imogen may have feelings for Zaha. We saw the both of them growing closer as the season went on, and right at the end when Zaha was up on stage, Imogen looked extremely impressed with her and was in awe of the performance that she was giving. There was a moment where Imogen hinted at the fact that she may like women when she said it would be so much easier if I was into girls. At the time, I didn't really think much of it, but seeing how close she was to Zaha and the friendship that they built, it very much seemed like that initial moment when she uttered that statement could have been her way of reaching out and trying to make people aware. But I guess we'll just have to see what happens in the next season. With regards to Tao and Elle, I think we'll see their relationship continue to flourish. They had a hard time in this season because they didn't truly know what they wanted, and Tao was trying to be somebody that he wasn't. But this time round, I think we'll see the strength that they've got between them, especially considering Elle is going to be going to art school, so I think we'll see Elle growing up quite a lot as she looks to fit in and thrive at her new school. There are so many different directions that the story could go in, and I can't wait to see which route it decides to go down. The cast. The characters in this show and the cast members that deliver them are what brings this show to life and gives it the energy and excitement and emotional investment that it wants from us. In terms of the cast, I think it's quite clear to see who will most likely be returning in the next season of the show. The only thing that throws it off slightly is the fact that the group will be leaving year 11. Which means that some students like Elle could potentially be going to a different sixth form to continue their studies. But unless they move extremely far away, then that would be the only reason as to why they wouldn't return. So I would predict, in terms of the returning characters, I think we'll see Nick, Charlie, Tao, Elle, Darcy, Tara, Isaac, Imogen, Zaha, Mr. Ajayi, Mr. Farouk, Felix, Naomi, Charlie's mother and father, Tori, Nick's mother, and maybe his father too. I also imagine with Elle going off to art college, there's the possibility for a wide array of new characters that could get introduced to us, which will be a great inclusion to the show. In terms of characters that we most probably won't see again, I don't know if we'll see James again, as I feel his purpose was served in this season of the show, but who knows, maybe he'll become more of a recurring character, but it's just the fact that he's not really in any of the friendship groups, so it makes me think that he might not return. I also don't think David, Nick's brother, will be returning, as he'll most likely go back to uni. And finally, I also don't feel as though Ben will be returning to the show either, only because it felt like in season 2 it closed off his storyline in a natural way that had a sense of resolution that was present, and it's actually been confirmed as well that he won't be returning. So I would say that most of the characters will be returning, which is great news. Unfortunately for now, that's all that's known about Heartstopper Season 3. I'm sure more information will be released as time goes on. So, there you have it. Heartstopper Season 3, everything we know. What do you think will happen next? Leave a comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next time.